Welcome to Empower Your Pattern with James Hendrick. Remember the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Success, Confidence, and Thrive Coach. Get ready to learn the principles and tips how to overcome the adversities in your life and become the success you always meant to be. So you come with us and get ready. We can enjoy this together. Come along and get ready. Let's fly. Yeehaw! Welcome, Pattern Realm, and as promised, today we're going to be doing the Pattern Enterprise Roundup, and this is where I get some of the quotes from some of the greats, as far as I'm concerned, about Pattern Enterprise, and we're going to start. It all starts with a goal. Take it away, Presley Swagerty.
I'm happy to. I've used goal setting, guys, in lots of areas of my life, but I'll give you one as far as business goes. I got involved in networking, and I was just kind of plodding along and not really making the strides that I wanted to, not moving up the leadership ladder as quick as I was wanting to. And I talked to a friend of mine who's big into goal setting, and he said, "What's your goals?" And I said, "Well, I don't have any. I'm just working hard." And he said, "Well, working hard's great, but if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish with that work, you're going to have a hard time getting anywhere."
See, the fact of the matter is you need goals. You need goals to succeed in whatever business you are, whether it's networking or real estate or consulting, or, even if it's just like a mom and pop store, or, a front-end alignment store, whatever it is, you need some goals for success in your business. And that is really the heart of it in Pattern Enterprise, is being on top in your goal setting, being specific and writing it down, and being strong in knowing that. Okay? And that's why it's important to really look at this from a more perspective of strength in making your goals. The specificity, the focus when you're working on achieving your goals. It's where we step in and do what needs to be done. Okay, so once again, take it away, Presley.
Couple of things before we get into the 7 steps of goal setting that I have. But one, reaching your goals is a big deal, and it's great to reach goals. But here's what you're going to get out of it. When you reach a goal, it's what it does for you inside, the way it makes you feel, the pride you have, the person it helps you become by reaching goals. You're going to figure out that who you become is more important than actually reaching that goal, I believe.
Definitely.
Because it just gives you that sense of pride, and you start realizing I can accomplish more in my life, and it's pretty phenomenal in that way. Now, I'm going to tell us, guys,
now, your next step really, and this is something from a concept learned from Les Brown, in order to achieve your goals, you got to be hungry. Take it away, Les Brown.
I'd like to talk with you this evening about being hungry. Somebody said, "I'm hungry." It is something I'd like to share some ideas and thoughts with you. I'm not asking that you believe anything that I say. I'm not asking that you agree with me. I'm merely asking that you stand on and end the conversation that we'll share with you this evening. And if there's something that I say that can fit and work for you, I say use it. If not, discard it and let it be.
And I might as well add some of my own concepts of what it means to be hungry. Welcome to the Coach's Circle, where the question is, can you conjure hunger? Or hungry, according to List Brown. Well, let me ask you something. Can you? I'll give you the ground rules for answering this. Don't use the yes-no switch. Pattern realm rule number 5 really gets into this, where you create your pattern, and it starts out with a good routine. I want you to listen to my insights there. Once that's over, I have my best friend. Her wife usually calls around 5-something to talk. And we talk a little while till she gets her boy ready for school. I try to read at some point in the morning some kind of business book, like I think a mindset. There's books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and The Millionaire Mind. But if you listen early enough in that episode of Routines, there's some more insights I have. Anyway, I've gotten up. Generally, I try to listen to something profound and spiritual. And this morning, I wanted to get some catch-up reading done in the Book of Mormon. Sometimes I'll read something from James E. Talmage. And really, other than starting with God's Word, where should you really get into? And this is something that Presley teaches, and as well as the greats, and that is getting into some gratitude. So listen to this. He is so good. And something, I am willing to use my podcast and my business, my industry, to be my ministry, because that's what I feel like God has called me to do, be, and have. Like I said, friends, they come and go. But the one who shows up for us the most is Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. They're the ones. Okay? So, there you go. You have to trust the process that God knows what's good for you, what's best for you. So, be ready to enjoy the fun. We're going to have a YouTube video about this. Okay, there we go. Now, we're going to give it some time to really sit and think about it. Because what you need, really, with you need these tools in order to be successful in the networking or whatever business. But I'm going to go through the rank in the current networking industry market that I'm involved in, which is essential services consulting. When you give the investment, you hit enter in on the ground floor. You're known as what is an IBO. Okay, you're an IBO. Now, the main thing that they want you to do as quickly as possible is to get to what is known as executive team leader, or the abbreviation is ETL. You know, the fast track to ETL. I keep hearing that in a lot of the training and team meetings that I go to, which I need to go to even more. And then through ETL, you have your regional coordinators, your RCs, and then after that is the RDs, regional director, and then you have your regional vice presidents, which the one that's over my division is a mentor by the name of the cowboy, Randy Hedge. And that's something there is the strength of hearing from him and his wisdom. And then after the regional vice president, the next rank is the senior vice president. And then after that in ACN is and the coach Presley Swagerty, who I mentioned at the beginning, he's at the highest rank now, which is Senior Vice President Platinum. Okay? So, think about it. It's good to have a good business system to buy into that's got a model. But the thing you need to see here, I want you to listen to Trump talking here about what it means to think big.
Over 20 years ago, I coined the expression think big, and it's been a part of my life ever since. It's also come true. I became an even bigger success after I said it than I was before. And that's one reason I think it's an important way to think.
In what industry, whatever industry you're in, you've got to learn to think big. Okay? You've got to learn to think big, because if you don't, if you're left with the rest of society, which is really thinking small. So many people believe false, a scarcity mentality. Now, I don't believe that, this prosperity gospel that says, hey, if you just believe long enough, that money's going to come out of thin air. No. You still have to work for it. And the first thing that should prosper should be inside of you. Okay? So you're seeing that truth coming in. So I want you to listen some more with Trump and his wisdom.
What did you learn from your father? Well, he loved to work, and he was happy. He was a happy man. He wasn't, one of these guys, and I know many of them, and you know many of them, they're in their psychiatrist every day. I say, what do you do? My father was a worker, and he loved to work. He'd work on Saturdays. He'd work on Sunday.
Now, people say, well, why are you choosing Trump to office? It's not a political statement. He's an example of how to do it in the business world. He's teaching some things. Now, Trump's a big businessman, like in New York and for. But let's go back to Presley's wisdom here on goals. Let's listen to what he has to say here. Because we need to circle back around the goals.
Absolutely. And, I've talked a little bit about the health one. Jordan just talked a little bit about business one. But understand, personal growth, you could make I'm going to read at least one book a month. I'm going to get to one personal growth seminar once a quarter. You've got to understand, you've got to be able to have some steps to each area of your life that you're trying to improve. Relationship goals, it could be, I'm going to have a date night with my spouse once a week. I'm going to send flowers once a month.
So see, we're back to full circle. Okay, you need to have your goals. That's one thing. And you got to have that hunger for success. In order to feed that hunger for success, it really is important that you know yourself. You're strong enough to think big. You're able enough to think big. And just step into that space. And I realize this is the first podcast in which I have had multiple sound bites. But I'm trying to set a point, that some of the greats can teach a lot of wonderful wisdom on how to be who they're called to be. See, I've listened to Presley. I even had a chance to meet him and sit at his feet, hear him talk about goals and how to work at achieving them. And so this is really this is really nothing new to me. Just something to really step into and think about. Step into your goals. Step into your hunger and your passion. Step into the chance to think big. And to be who we are called to be, right? You know what's coming up. You know what's coming up. Pattern Enterprise is pretty, really, it's pretty important, for you to begin to hear what I have to say, with your goals, with your hunger, and with how that is. You think, like in personal development, the way some people sound, they sound like mentors would be, unapproachable. That's not what I saw when I met the coach, Presley Swagerty. The good mentors who are successful, they should be humble enough to want to come down and offer to help someone break into the right space so that they can succeed. And I know that sounds kind of odd. But if we can think about it, seriously, having these goals, writing them down, having a vision, you need to have that vision and be able to be on top of things. The truth is, as a part of Pattern Enterprise, and of course, I'm covering the latter part of the season that is more in the pattern pathways, only drawing from maybe a few episodes from some of the early stuff. the stuff I did during the spring from some of the wisdom there, because it all, in the success patterns, that they all connect together. But you got to be able to connect the dots and do it right. But in the dichotomy, it isn't win-lose. It's win and learn. Okay? It's not win or lose. It's win and learn. It's part of the game of life. Part of the game of personal and professional development. And really just stepping into your goals. And being who God has called you to be. We're like an AC, and whether you're just an IBO, which I want to work on getting moved up ASAP. And number two, or you're an RVP, the regional vice president, or even a senior vice president, whatever it is, whatever level you are, wherever station you are in your business. Keeping your goal list up. Keeping your hunger up. Making sure, listen to me. Making sure. And you're going to have to do this. When I'm about to tell you, you're going to have to do this. Trying to find this here. Be patient with me. Because we all know you have to have that hunger. But alongside that hunger, you got to have a good routine. Okay? Stepping into a good routine. And then learning to work hard. Being in that space where you work hard and being grateful for the goodness that is part of your life, okay? Because if you want to be a big influence around you as an entrepreneur, as a thought leader, whatever it is that God's called you to do, be, and have, you need to have these things in place. Okay? Because let's face it. And of course, we're going to go through goal setting. Because it's important. I'm gonna emphasize goals in Pattern Enterprise. Because the sooner we accentuate this, and really in some ways that means you have to watch what you put into your spirit. And why is that? Because positive breeds positive. And negative breeds negative. Problem is this. Is that there is enough BS out there in this world that can bring you down. Okay? But it's your choice to say, hey, I know where this negative is coming from. And it's from the devil. And I refuse it. I refuse it. I will not receive it. Now, if it's a reality we have to accept, some things going on in our lives. The best thing to do is to find a way to proactively respond. But in many ways, we don't give up on our dreams. We keep going. We keep that hunger going. We keep our goals going. We keep we just keep moving. Okay? We just keep moving. We stretch forward. You know, there's a verse in the Book of Mormon that says to press forward with steadfastness with Christ, having a perfect brightness of hope. And I know many of you are not members of my faith, but at the same time, I think we can learn that anyway. You need to step forward with faith, knowing that God is going to take care of you in your enterprise, and have that brightness of hope. Because the way the world's going to want you to give it up. Say, you know, hey, this ain't working for me. No, I'm not. But I want you to listen to this, okay? I want you to listen to this carefully. We are called to do, be, and have more. We are called into those things. But do we step into that? Do we love and believe in ourselves? Do we know our audiences as entrepreneurs? Do we know those things? I don't know, but it's something that we need to check out. Do we know the success leaves clues, and we go out actively looking for those clues? Do we cast drama out of our lives to bring peace in? I know that's something I need to work on a lot more often, is getting the drama out and the people that's involved in drama out of my life. It's not an easy thing. And things can be difficult. But now, here in a little bit, we're going to get back to another quote from Presley. And I want you to be ready for this, because this is important. Because we're getting down to the wire. Down to the nitty gritty. Take it away, Presley.
Game, just saying, walking in the locker room right before the game saying, go get them, guys. You know, we've watched video, we know what we're doing, we have a game plan, we've talked to our team, and now let's go get it.
Yeah, and think about this. How much more significant is our life than a basketball game? I mean, really, it's not even in the same league. But I would have never thought about going into that locker room and not having a plan for the opponent we're facing. We had written down, we'd watched video after video of our opponent. We knew their weaknesses, their strengths. We had a plan on what we're trying to accomplish. And I knew what I was doing. We
That's the right soundbite. I mean, I hope it is. It kind of dovetails. Because he talks about his health goals, you know. Want to lose weight, cutting back on carbs and all that stuff. So, which I'm going to try to be seeing a physical therapist once a year who's kind of in the nature thing, and she said the best way to lose weight is a high protein diet. And so the thing is, though, you've got to have temporal goals and spiritual goals. And I think your health goals need to be your spiritual goals. And this goes well into rule number 10 of Pattern Realm, law number 10, which is enjoy good, clean living. We all should do that, right? We all should do that. And here in a minute, I'm going to lead you to someone that you'd be surprised lives this way. And if successful people are living and enjoying good, clean living, well, then that tells you something. That tells you something right there. It means, hey, if these successful people want to do it, I want to be successful. Therefore, I want to do it regardless. You know? Enjoy good, clean living. Have a good, long life. Maybe you can be on the golf course one of these days with these successful people. That's my hope. And I know some people are like, Jimmy, what's this about you want to be on the golf course? It's not just trying to get the ball in the hole so you get the score. I consider golf as a sport that deals with camaraderie. Okay? Seriously. Camaraderie. It's what it's all about. And so I'm just wanting to be ready for this. Because to be honest with you, the blessing about the good, clean living, and I'm about to play Trump here in about maybe a minute and a half. He talks about clean living. And it's something he picked up and something that he's impressed on his kids. And I think sometimes his kids get sick and tired of hearing about it, but then again, I'm glad he does do it. I'm glad he does teach good, clean living. Because we need that. We have to do our best to take care of our bodies. And really live in such a way that is pleasing to the Lord. And if we live in a way that's good and clean, pleasing to the Lord, by having good, clean living, physically, spiritually, then temporally, we have a chance to succeed. We have a chance to be on top of things. We have a chance of knowing where God wants us to be. Right? So then, who are we to not want to listen to the guidelines that God has given us? Rule number 10. I developed that while I was on vacation with friends. You know, my friend Bishop Dave and his family in Ruidoso, New Mexico. And it just made sense. You know, people with good, clean living the way they are. Without any further ado, take it away, President Trump.
A lot of it's because of the success of The Apprentice, where they go on and people get to know Ivanka and Don and Eric. But a lot of that was earlier. I'd always say to them, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And now I add for Barron, and I just drive them crazy. I'd say every time they'd leave, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. Repeat after me, and I'd have to repeat. They go, Ivanka would go, Dad, will you leave me alone? But I drum it into their heads. And, you know, you have to get back. You have to get through those artificial barriers. I call them artificial barriers because you can do something about it until it's too late. Once it's in your system, it's very hard to stop. Like, I don't drink, and it's very easy for me not to drink. I tell people, what are you drinking for? What are you drinking for? And they don't even understand what I'm saying.
So how did you, it's amazing when people see you, they can't imagine. No alcohol.
Oh, would I be in trouble if I was a drinker?
See, there you go. Trump's saying he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and he's been teaching his kids not to do the same thing. Not to drink and not to smoke. I did the same thing. I discourage kids against smoking and drinking. There was a time that I used to drink, but as of June, I haven't touched a drop in 24 years, and I have no intention to start. Now we're going to get back to Presley talking about goals.
with that work, you're going to have a hard time getting anywhere. He said, before you go to bed tonight, write down your goals. What are your goals for this company? What are your goals for you as far as moving up in this company? And I wrote them down that night before I went to bed. And I remember thinking, well, I hope this works. But I had some goals that I wanted to accomplish, and I put them on my memo on my phone, and I keep all my goals there so I can read them all the time. And it's amazing. When I had those goals and I knew exactly what I was wanting to accomplish, everything started falling into place.
Okay, this goes back to what we know versus what we can do. Okay? Presley is giving the wisdom on the goals. We can sit there and write down our goals. But are we making action steps? Are we doing what we can each and every day to go towards those goals? And it's not always easy, because there's so many distractions, and sometimes we gotta shut those distractions down. Okay? And it's, if you think about it, knowing your hunger along with your written goals is your knowing, but it's your executing that brings in the doing. So if you can be in your knowing and then stepping into your doing, you can do anything that you set your mind to. But what that means is stepping into those goals. Okay, so now I want you to listen to Presley once again.
My whole point with this is that you got to have a plan. What are you going to do? And for me to lose it.
Once again, goes back to what we know versus what we can do. What do we put into our minds? What actions are we taking for our goals? What are we willing to step into? What are we willing to do? Seriously. This is, to be honest with you, this is very important to know. To step into those goals. Knowing who we are. And knowing what God's called us into. It's what we know versus what we can do. We can be in the knowing, but what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing? Now, here in a little bit, I'm going to play Presley again. And this time, when you hear him talking about goals, I want you to take this seriously. I want you to chew on this a little bit. Because it's going to get even deeper. Get ready.
Absolutely. And, I've talked a little bit about the health one. Jordan just talked a little bit about business one. But understand, personal growth, you could make I'm going to read at least one book a month. I'm going to get to one personal growth seminar once a quarter. You've got to understand, you've got to be able to have some steps to each area of your life that you're trying to improve.
There. You see, that is the crux of the matter. Listen carefully. You write it down. You execute it. Find someone that can hold you accountable. Do what you gotta do to take care of yourself. Now, once again, we're going to test our theory. I want you to listen to what Presley says here.
To show that you're trying. I mean, there's just steps we need to do in everything. And if you take your time, once you've written your goals down, you'll think up some steps that you need to accomplish before you can get there. Now, the next thing.
Once again, it goes back to what we know versus what we can do. We can know what he says. We can know to make our goals. The thing is, and he would teach this, and I would teach this, is what are we doing about it? How are we moving about it? What are we stepping into? What are we willing to do or to try? What are we willing to step into? Seriously. Now, listen carefully again.
To show that you're trying. I mean, there's just steps we need to do in everything. And if you take your time, once you've written your goals down, you'll think up some steps that you need to accomplish before you can get there. Now, the next thing is going to be write everything down. I have, and that's my number 5. So it's decide what you want out of life, have specific measurable goals, have time-bound goals, have an action plan to reach your goals, and then write everything down. And write them down in a positive statement, like, you've already done it. I think that is key. Don't put that, hey, I'm gonna try to save $100 a month. No, I'm saving $100 a month. Put it in a positive statement. I think that is huge. And let me tell you why it's so key to write this down. We have in our brain what's called a reticular cortex, part of our brain, and it's part of the reticular activating system. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example that everybody will recognize here.
Now, what does that mean? You think about it, what we know and what we can do. How does he treat his team? Based on when I met him, he treats his team like family. That being said, that doesn't mean he doesn't give us a talk to make sure that we're not up to our goals. Because families sometimes have to give each other tough love. But it's that positive criticism, and not negative, because negative doesn't help you with your drama. Now, I want you to listen closely to what Presley has to say here, and then we'll go on to some point.
We can put that slide up if you would, guys. Here's the ACN system, and Mr. Stefanovsky and some of the other founders, we've been talking, Patrick and Mike, and we've been saying that we got to do a few things a little bit different, kind of go back to the future, if you will. I'm going to start talking about peaking. Now, that's kind of what I did with Mark Dean. I said something to him. In other words, I opened my mouth. Guys, the biggest key is just say something. Would everybody agree with that? Would you leaders, just whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, say something? Because there's an old saying, and it's the truth. You can't say the right thing to the wrong one or the wrong thing to the right one. I mean, that really works. That really...
Listen carefully. Okay? What he's talking about is you don't walk away from someone that could lead to your fortune. You talk about those things. You step into those things. You learn. You have to learn what is best for you and what is right for you. But the thing is, though, if you're trying to promote your business, it basically means open your mouth. Open your mouth, flap your gums. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You just open your mouth. Make sure you're confessing positive, though. Make sure you're putting the right things into your spirit. Otherwise, you're not going to do it, okay? You're not going to do it. So I want you to think about that. All right? Because that involves a lot of wisdom there for you to begin to understand. So now let's listen to some more wisdom here. This episode is going to be interesting. Welcome to the Coach's Circle. This is where I put on my hat as a confidence coach and adversity educator. This is where, well, the mental checkup meets with, how do I say it? Pressing the message inside you that God's given to you in accordance to the Word of God. And I don't know how your 2024 is going. To be honest with you, mine has been very trying. That's some pretty good wisdom in and of itself. Some pretty strong wisdom, because if you think about it, which I think you should. We deal with a lot. Many of you in Pattern Realm, you listen to me, you know we want more. We want a better and extraordinary life, beginning right now. And many of us, we want good passive income. So we have to listen to the right things and get into the right things. Okay? So that's why that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with. But now, being impassive, we need to know what our target audience is. We need to have the right goals, the right hunger. We need to be searching for the right clues, stepping into those right clues. I mean, it's not that hard. Now, this soundbite here that I'm going to play, it's going to sound kind of garbled. But I'm hoping you can gather whatever wisdom you can and see what can be done with it. Without any further ado, Presley.
But I just thought if I were trying to jump in, I could go to like $1,000. I was not the
basically contacting people, showing the presentations, and then opening up for meetings and events. That's a pretty strong thing to look into. Now, here's another thing that dubs into this, really and truthfully. A lot of financial advisors, and even in my church, especially in the church, they're always talking, live within your means. Which is good if you have the means. If you don't, my philosophy is work on what you can do to expand it. I don't think God means for everybody to be poor unless God calls them to be such. We know what God's called us to be and everything. And so, to that end, I say to expand your means. Now, where I disagree with this is about Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump on this, is about the debt situation. Okay, because I agree with the lead theologians of my faith that debt is dumb. Okay, debt is dumb no matter what you do. If you have to borrow against an asset to make an asset, then I see too many problems. Just create you some assets on a basic level. And because I don't think, it's okay for us to prosper and everything, but I think, number one, the first thing that prospers, that should be inside of us, and that we should make it to where we can be comfortable and happy, but at the same time, bless the lives of others. Okay? And why shouldn't we? Because we know what's best. But God knows what's best first. And that's why I say the first thing that prospers should be inside of us. But this wisdom here, I want you to listen to this carefully. This exchange between Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump. Because, once again, it taps into what Presley Swagerty said, and you never know, which we will get back to at some point. I might as well go into this now.
So, the other thing with when people say live below your means, you don't like to live below your means, do you?
No.
And I think when you say to somebody, live below your means, you wipe their spirit out. It's like saying somebody, if you want to lose weight, go on a starvation diet. It doesn't make you healthier to starve yourself. So I would rather get financially educated. That's why I read your books, because this is my greatest asset. I want to feed my brain so that I can expand my means without getting into excessive debt or where I start to lose. Because debt, you could say, is a two-edged sword. But telling somebody to live below your means is almost inhumane. I never felt good doing it. I wanted to strive to do better every day. I want to do better every day. I liked a good life. Like I tell the story of taxiing underneath your jet. I was in my jet, but it...
Okay, so see, it makes sense. I like most of what they have to say, except using the debt, borrowing the debt to create more assets or buy more assets. That's an issue I take. But for the most part, about expanding the means, I don't have a problem with that. And so that is a key issue here. Now, we're going to go into, and I know it's a little depart, but I want you to listen to me on this one. We're going to go into the mental health deal for just a little bit, and then we will be back.
Why not? We have it to do. Whether we like it or not, it's something that we are being called to look into. And so many aspects of it. And you may say, well, why? Each of us has a message inside. And in PE 64, I talked about pressing the message inside you the Bible way. Unfortunately, sometimes the adversary, and I'm not saying that mental health disorders is evil. I'm not saying that in any way. But I think the adversary uses personal adversity sometimes to cloud a view.
One thing I neglected to say, and I guess I should have looked at this, one of them was talk about not letting life pass you by. That's an important thing. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and play this because I think it's important.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to give up. No. I'm going to go down fighting. But anyway, I'm gonna really and truthfully, I'm going to try to unwrap this in a couple of parts. Because it's something I think we need to look into. So are you ready? Okay, let's go on this little adventure together. We have our little 9 car that's going to take us out to the 9 ship. But I want you, this episode, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to not let the world pass you by. Now, the parameters for answering this.
Now listen to me, and listen to me good, okay? Because you need to know this before we go on. We need to be able to master the art of leadership, or to not let life pass us by. And then we need us to be able to assess that message that's inside us, right? Right? Now, then we need to realize that, if we have challenges, like mental health, that we are better than giving up. It's okay to say when we're down and everything. There's no problem with that if we're having some mental health. We just realize we can't give up. And then, going into your business knowing that you can close the deal and continue to press the message inside you that's God's way, okay? And then learn managing leadership and entrepreneurship. So, and it goes back to my Socratic question, can money solve problems? See, plenty of things like that. We can set boundaries with impertinent people that are interfering with our affairs. and deal with the adversity that we got and everything, because adversity can knock us down. And really and truthfully, what we got to do is stay strong spiritually. Okay? Because that's what we got to do in order to launch and to be who we are called to be. Okay? So, trying to get everything set up here. Please be patient with me. So I want you to listen to this here once again from Presley.
It's my mind that am I walking past a fortune? Now, we can put that slide up if you would, guys. Here's the ACN system, and Mr. Stevanovsky and some of the other founders, we've been talking, Patrick and Mike, and we've been saying that we got to do a few things a little bit different, kind of go back to the future, if you will. I'm going to start talking about peaking. Now, that's kind of what I did with Mark Dean. I said something to him. In other words, I opened my mouth. Guys, the biggest key is just say something. Would everybody agree with that? Would you leaders, just whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, say something? Because there's an old saying, and it's the truth. You can't say the right thing to the wrong one or the wrong thing to the right one. I mean, that really works. That really applies, guys. So say something. If people are looking, you don't have to be real eloquent. Now, I'm going to give you three things that I do, three different ways that I approach this business. One, if it's a good friend of mine, I mean, we're buddies, or it's a close relative, I'll just call them up and go, hey, I found a way we can work together and make some serious money. There's a Zoom at 7 o'clock.
It's like Presley said, you never know who you can bump into that can help you get your fortune. And that's why it's important, if you think about it, that you manage the art of leadership, and you assess the message inside you, and get rid of the I don't feel like it and everything. But at the same time, stay humble. Please, stay humble. Okay? Now, and once again, it goes into not letting life pass you by either. I want you to listen to this final clip on that.
Now, this episode is going to be interesting. Welcome to the Coach's Circle. This is where I put on my hat as a confidence coach and adversity educator. This is where, well, the mental checkup meets with, how do I say it? Pressing the message inside you that God's given to you in accordance to the Word of God. And I don't know how your 2024 is going. To be honest with you, mine has been very trying.
Okay, and so with that, really and truthfully, that's a lot to sit on. That's a lot to chew on. Your goals, having that hunger inside you, not letting life pass you by, living full and dying empty. You know, good, clean living, expanding your means, and just wanting to live the way that God would want you to live. But I want you to listen to this, what Trump has to say about being upcoming.
Well, I have a friend who was not successful at all, but was really up and coming. And he had
See, some more wisdom. Plenty of wisdom. I want you to picture this. You're reasonably wealthy and everything. And there's someone close to you in your business. You take some root beers. And you're out on the boat with them. On the lake. You're talking business and everything. And having a good time. Because things are going well, things are going reasonably well. Or maybe there's a struggle and they can help you figure it out. Either way, the fact of the matter is, you don't go past somebody and trying to get, help to gather your fortune. Because once again, you never know. Listen to me. You never know. It's easy to just want to say, well, I don't see that happening for me. I don't see that being for me. But don't do that. Stop confessing negative. It's easy to just sit there and confess negative. I've been seeing that in my life lately, and how it's been attracting, and it's not good. You're not going to win if you keep attracting negative. You got to find a way to put some positive in there. Otherwise, you're messed up. Okay? Now, please, understand, God called us to be who we are. And I want you to step into that, please. Okay? How many of you, do you really want to be up and coming? Do you really want to be up and coming? Well, here in a little bit, I'm going to play this last clip about being up and coming, and then I'm going to give you some of the wisdom on my own, and then we're going to wrap it up because we don't have too much longer before I end this. So without further ado, one last time, Donald Trump.
Happier is the wanting to get better, to get smarter, to do better.
Well, I have a friend who was not successful at all, but was really up and coming. And he had a thing. He would only fly first class. I'm not saying do this because for somebody it won't work, but he needed that mentally.
Right.
He wanted to fly first class because mentally he wanted to think he was the best, and that's it. And even though he didn't have much money at the time, this is years ago, he would always fly. I used to criticize him, but it put him in a good state of mind, and he became a very, very successful guy. Yes. Very, very successful. Yes. And I've always remembered that. He would never fly coach. He would always fly first class, even though he didn't have the means to fly. So, look, it's complicated, but whatever it takes to train that.
Whatever makes you feel better about yourself, stronger, more confident, to want to do better. And I think really that's the issue. And we're at the stage of our lives right now. To ask for more is not really it. But to do better, to feel better about ourselves is still important. It is very important. So that's why I don't like saying live below your means and scrimp and all that, because, shopping is fun. Nice houses are fun.
I'm going to say this now. But I'm going to be honest with you, those in pattern realm. If you have family and friends that cut you down and don't believe in your dreams, You better find you a new family, and you better find you a new friends. Oh, but Jimmy, isn't that kind of harsh? No, listen to me. You better find you a new family, and you better find you a new friends. Because you keep hanging out with losers, you're going to get your heart broken. Oh, no, Jimmy, come on. No. Listen to me. If you keep hanging out with losers, you're going to get your heart stomped on and broken on. Because they don't believe in you in the first place. And why is that? Because they're losers. Because they think small. Because they don't have the hunger to live big and be big. In fact, some people, because of the degenerate culture, they're downright small and petty. And I don't have time for those type of people. Okay? Now, I've given you the formula for pattern enterprise. This series is over. I gave you a wrap up. We got about a little less than 4 minutes before I really close this down, but I gotta say this, guys. I'm giving you this coaching because I care. I'm giving you the wisdom of people like Presley Swagerty, Robert Kiyosaki, and Donald Trump because I want you to know that I care. I put my heart and soul in every one of the podcasts that I send to you guys. I'm giving you guys the coaching I need. I mean, I'm not going to be like a therapist and hold your hand. No. Not even my therapist does that. And he just basically says, what do you think? What do you think should be the solution? Well, that's the same thing I would tell you. What do you think? What do you think is your solution? Where are you going to step in? Seriously, I'm going to say this one. I'm going to say this again, and I mean it. If you have friends or family that knock you down, that don't believe in you and your dreams, time to find new friends and family. Because otherwise, you're going to get your heart stomped on. I'm going to say it one more time. If you have friends and family that do not believe in you, that do not believe in your dreams, then it's time to find new family and new friends. But Jimmy, that's cold. That can hurt people's feelings. What are you want? If you're listening to my podcast, right? What do you want to do? You want to win, okay? And that doesn't mean play kissy face with the drama kings and queens and people that live small and petty lives and thinking, I want to be rich and all this stuff, but they don't have the mindset or the wherewithal to do it. Oh, but don't give me all this Jimmy bullcrap. Don't do that, okay? I'm not playing games. Sometimes in my coaching, I have to be firm. And this is one of those times. Now, many of you know between now and July, except for every once in a while, I'm going to be taking a break on this podcast. And I'll be back on July 1st. And believe me, we're going to have a new flair. Now, I just have a minute to say one more thing. Once you found that new friend family group, and you see that they're winners, you roll with them. You roll with them. But what do you think about the other people? Well, love them, okay? It's okay to love them and everything. Just don't hang out with them all the time. Because they don't believe in you. Now, I hope you enjoy listening. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of Pattern Realm. Until next time, don't sit there and take it. Build your dreams so you can take it. Do what others don't so you can be what others won't. And do what others won't so you can have what others can't. Please share this with Mama San, Papa San, and everyone. This is Jimmy saying until next time, I want you to do these 3 things. Choose, act, and pursue happiness. God bless you. Remember this, from the bottom of my heart, Jimmy loves you. I really, really, really love you. God bless you, and have a blessed day.